Okay, so we try to assess students. Okay, whether it is going to be a formative assessment or whether it is a summative assessment. Okay, so these things are nearly really needed. One thing, when we consider formative assessment, unless we assess the students at regular intervals, we cannot uh, what is that, we do not know the way of instruction. So we unless we know what is the progress the student is making, okay, whether the instruction what we are giving them or the teaching what we are doing, okay, is really moving the students towards the learning objective or towards the learning outcome or not. Okay, so that is the objective of your formative assessment. Okay, so it is used to assess the knowledge level, the interim knowledge level the student is gaining. Okay, and what progress is making, he is making or she is making towards the learning outcome. Okay, that is the objective of a formative assessment. And when you consider the summative assessment, what knowledge actually he has gained. So these two components of evaluation or assessment, whatever we call, is are very very important. So when we are trying to do this on using your online platform, okay, how well we are satisfied as teachers, how well we are evaluating the students, and what is the comfort the student is receiving. Okay, and what are the challenges, issues. Okay, so these things are really a question of the hour. Okay, so we know that there are different modalities which are carried out at institution level as well as at university levels in order to assess and evaluate the students. So normally what we try to do is that is due to the complexity involved in this assessment process, we try to compromise, okay, to a lower denomination. But that is not at all required. Okay, maybe we are just settling down with this online way of assessment, but still we can just mature, we can develop practices so that this particular online evaluation can be matured of. Okay, so in that perspective only I am going to share my experiences on what practices I have been making. Okay, and how I am doing this assessment process. Okay, so that is the actually objective. So I will be talking about um, the ways of or the tips or strategies, okay, that you can carry out while assessing your students. Okay, whether it is your summative or whether it is your formative assessment, as well as I will be introducing certain tools to you. Okay, and I will also share my experiences of how I am doing it. Okay, so this will be the objective of this today's session. And let me start with this quote. So, good teaching is more a giving of right questions than a giving of right answers. Okay, I need not explain it. So, this particular quote emphasizes how to develop the critical thinking of students. Okay, so when we try to give them a question, okay, so it should help them to gain more knowledge. Okay, that is the objective. Okay, so it says the significance of assessment and evaluation. So as I told you, these are the topics. I will just give an introduction of the challenges and the strength, the weaknesses, and the opportunities which are available with your online evaluation, and what tips and techniques you can follow to make this particular process efficient, and what tools actually are there. There are enormous number of tools which are paid, which are free, which are open source, and most probably Dr. Kupasamy would have given a glimpse of certain tools that you can use also. So there are a lot of tools. So it all depends on selecting a particular tool. Okay, based on the target audience and based on your objective. Okay, so that is there. So I will try to give four important tools which I have been using and which I found interesting also. Okay, so with the introduction of online assessment, I would like to just quote these terminologies. All of us are hearing about NEP. Okay, and most of us are moving towards outcome based education. We have revised a curriculum, okay, so that we are going towards outcome based education. And now we are in the present condition of COVID-19, and education has moved to an upper level called as education 4.0. And the internet also has moved from a read write web to a semantic web, what we call it as a web 3.0, where people are connected, computers are connected, and even information are connected. Okay, so we are moving to a trend of web 3.0, and this is a famous book written by Spencer Johnson, Who Moved My Cheese. Okay, so it was a good book what I got as a present, and you also can read this book. So I will try to connect all these dots at the end of my lecture. Okay, so all of us know about Benjamin Bloom, okay, an academician. So he has rendered a lot for the sake of educationist and for the ideal growth of a student. Okay, so with this quotes I will start. So what is online assessment? So online educational system, okay, or online educational evaluation, it is actually a systematic process. Okay, it is a systematic process, which means that it needs lots of planning and action. Okay, so it is a systematic process of chronicling and utilizing the empirical data on the skills, knowledge, and behavioral aspects of candidates. Okay, so far whatever evaluation we are doing, just we are trying to understand the knowledge level of the student. Okay, that is the objective. But apart from that, when you consider a physical classroom, we try to evaluate the student in different ways. Okay, we try to find out what is his behavior in his class, how interactive is he, okay, whether he's an introvert or whether he's an extrovert, what is his problem. Okay, based upon the behavior he's exhibiting in a physical classroom. And similarly, what type of knowledge he is gaining, we conduct test. Okay, and we give them assignments and we try to evaluate them. And about their skills, we try to personally experience the skills. Okay, we find that certain students are good at reading, good at drawing, good at writing, good at programming. Okay, so we try to identify the skills. Okay, in a physical classroom all these things are possible, but how to do it online? Okay, but still an online evaluation system, okay, should try to understand and collect all empirical data which are related to skills, knowledge, and behavioral aspects. Okay, so now how do we do this? What are the tools that are there? How to utilize these tools in an efficient manner so that you can evaluate the student in a wholesome manner? Okay, that is the objective. So when we consider the benefits of online assessment, everybody knows the benefits are like we need not teach the students, okay, because students are well versed with all the digitally available equipment, and most of them are having access to any one of an electronic device. Okay, so at least 70 to 80% of students are have access to these electronic devices, and they are well versed in operating the devices. And as teachers also, we are also trying to bridge the gap, though some of us are digital migrants, but still today's generation are digital natives. They are born in a digital world and they are growing with digital equipments. So that is one greatest advantage, and electronic equipments are more attractive. Okay, so that is the greatest advantage of online assessment. The second aspect is that we know that it is minimizing the administrative burden, like essential of infrastructures, essential of resources, whether it is going to be human resources or whether it is going to be your papers, okay, and other things. So that is going to be lessened. And if you are using a proper tool, okay, your grading is also made easy. You can automate the grading process. Okay, that is another benefit of online assessment. And due to the minimized use of papers, okay, it is quite environmental friendly, and it is scalable. See, if I want to conduct a test for 200 students, okay, you just imagine in a physical classroom, we need at least 4 or 5 rooms. We have to spread the students across the rooms, and we need 5 or 6 teachers to monitor them, and the time which is involved, the man hours which are involved. Okay, but if you consider an online platform, this is not a requirement. Okay, it is scalable. You can include any number of students, you can reuse the materials. Okay, and a lot of advantages are there. And another important aspect which we do not think of is your accessibility. Okay, so say for example, students who are having some disability. Okay, so it can be any type of disability. In a physical classroom, we have to make special arrangement to accommodate them. But when you are using proper tools, okay, certain tools are equipped with accessible features. Okay, so if you are designing a question paper, okay, you can make the question paper accessible whether the student is having an hearing impairment or whether a student is having a visual impairment. Okay, certain tools are helping you to do or helping you to create accessible contents. Okay, so these are the advantages of online assessment. And the challenges are like, that depending on what type of questions you give, and the easiest thing for the student is to cheat. Okay, because they have access to different materials and nobody is going to monitor them. Okay, even if you ask them to switch on the camera, they have lots of reasons to escape from that. And it is very difficult to identify whether the student has written on his own or copied. Okay, so that is there, and they may take help from other sources also. Maybe it is another friend, or maybe from internet and other things. Okay, so this is a challenge. And another challenge is that since they are using electronic devices, okay, say if it is a paper and pen test, it is just you can give some textual content. Okay, your questions are in textual content, and it is going to be in black and white. But when you're using an electronic device, okay, so giving a quiz, okay, or a question paper, just like your normal classroom assessment, is not going to be very attractive. Okay, so people expect visually rich content. Okay, because it is an electronic device. Okay, so you need a content which is going to be visually rich. Okay, which is going to be pleasing and which is attractive, and which is going to have a fullest involvement of the students. And they also expect interactive content. Okay, it is not like a one way thing. You give a question and they write it and you supply it. Okay, of course we are doing that only, but still I'm just telling the challenges. Okay, when you have a big sword, okay, we try to peel an onion, it is like that only. Okay, so we have to make use of the capacity of the technology in order to make your assessment more effective. That is the idea. And the last one is a very important point as teachers, the workload which is involved in online teaching. Okay, this is really challenging. Okay, because you have to design your questions, you have to typeset your questions electronically, you have to host it. Okay, you have to add your students, then you have to share the questions, you have to get your answers. Okay, then you have to download them. Either you grade them automatically or you get them what to say that offline, then you have to enter your marks. Okay, then again you have to do the result processing. Okay, so definitely it takes a lot of time for the teacher. Sometimes we hear teachers saying that it is better to conduct a what is that, a test or something in a physical classroom itself. Okay, it is more easier than doing it online. Okay, so these are some of the challenges. So when you consider the teacher's workload, preparation of your assessment, evaluation of your finding out how you are going to evaluate your students and how you are going to grade the student is really difficult. And because of all these things, okay, we say that when we are having an evaluation tool, okay, and the students are not performing better, okay, we blame on the students. Okay, so it is not like that. We have to make use of the technology in a proper way so that we can evaluate the students in a better way. Okay, and that is the idea which is conveyed by this picture. So now how are we going to do this? Okay, so of course all these points you know, but how are we going to manage all these things? Okay, so first of all, internet is the greatest boon of this era. Okay, so we can, internet provides us with lots of resources, the ability to use the internet, okay, as a convenient, informative and interactive learning resource and assessment tool is a valuable asset for teachers. Okay, so we have to make use of the internet for doing our evaluation in a effective way. Okay, so this is the challenge what we have seen with respect to students cheating. Okay, so how you can avoid cheating? So we have to design questions, okay, or we have to design our evaluation pattern or assessment pattern, okay, in such a way that it the students will be refrained from cheating. Okay, they cannot cheat. Okay, so one simple way is that you give them an open book test. Okay, you give them an open book test. Okay, but you devise your questions in such a way that they can refer anything, but still they have to, they cannot give a same answer. Okay, so that will be the best way of doing a descriptive test. Okay, so we design questions in such a way that they can refer the book. Okay, you can say you can refer any material, but only thing is that they will not be able to give the same answers. Okay, so which means that, as I was telling earlier, okay, we try to develop the critical thinking of the student. We try to give them the right questions, okay, so that they can think and answer. So when they are thinking, you cannot have two people to think alike. Okay, so in that way you can avoid people cheating in your what is that, your descriptive type questions. Okay, and if it is a quiz based question, okay, you can give timed questions. Okay, which means that they cannot ask somebody, okay, or they will not have time to refer and then mark the answers. Okay, you see to that it is going to be a timed question. Okay, if it is a quiz sort of assessment. Okay, and when you are giving quizzes and other things, you can see to that the ordering is shuffled. Okay, and the question set itself randomized. Okay, which means that the set of questions one student gets will not be the same for another student. Okay, so you try to create question banks and you generate questions randomly for different sets of students. Okay, and you try to give limited questions. Say for example, when you're giving a timed test, okay, say if I'm giving a 10-minute test. Okay, so I will be able to give only 2 or 3 questions. Okay, so suppose if I give 10 questions and if I'm giving them half an hour, there is a possible what to say, discussion between the students. They will just call up or WhatsApp and they will share the answers. Instead of that, you can give limited questions. Okay, and in limited time period, so that you cannot have all the entire set of questions to be discussed. Okay, and you can give mixed type of questions like say for example, if you are giving all multiple choice question, there are possibilities for students to get help. Okay, so we try to formulate different types of questions like MCQs, match the following, fill in the blanks. Okay, jumbled words, all these things. Okay, and another thing is that when you're having quiz type of questions, you can limit the number of attempts. Okay, so just like in Google Forms, you can say like you can submit only once. Similarly, you can limit the number of attempts. Okay, and the last point is an important thing wherein you're going to get selective assessment. So this normally will not be given as at the summative assessment, but for formative assessment, what you can give is that you can identify a group of people based upon the skills, and you can give selective assessment for these set of students. Okay, so again, it is going to increase the teacher workload, but the objective of assessment will be met. Okay, so these are the certain strategies what you can follow so that students will be avoided from cheating. And coming to the visually rich and interactive contents, we can design questions such that we have drag and drop activities, we can have image based activities, and we can have audio and video based activities. So instead of having just mundane text like questions, you can go for drag and drop activities, image based activities, audio and video based activities. So whatever tips I am telling, I will show tools which are using this. Okay, that is why I have included all these points. Okay, and coming to the teacher's workload in preparing, evaluating and grading the assessment, first of all, the thing is that we have to plan. Okay, what we have to plan: what is the learning objective of a particular course? Okay, what is the learning outcome? Okay, so there is a gap between the objective and the outcome, and in between we are going to do the assessment. We are going to see whether the student is progressing towards the learning outcome. Okay, so for that we need to plan how many internal assessment we are going to keep. Okay, what are the milestones, and what are the things we are going to assess. Okay, whether we are going to assess their behavior, whether they are going to assess their skills, whether we are going to assess their knowledge. Okay, so I have talked about three things. You have to decide. Okay, as a teacher, I will find out, say if it is a programming paper, okay, I will see to that whether he is developing the programming skill necessary for that paper. Okay, which is going to be the learning outcome. Okay, and if it is say a research course, an elective course, okay, I will try to find out whether the student is going to acquire enough knowledge, whether he is able to do a analytical work. Okay, whether he will be able to solve a case study. Okay, so if it is a management paper, okay, I will try to give them different scenarios. Okay, I will try to find out what is their management skill. Okay, what is their decision making skills. Okay, so you have to decide what are the ways you are going to assess your students, so that you are able to achieve the learning outcomes. Okay, so it requires lot of planning. Once you plan, okay, the execution is very easy. Okay, so we have to first, if you are going to test the knowledge, okay, what you do is that instead of giving a test for more marks, you try to keep small I mean frequent tests, but for lesser marks. Okay, so this will avoid them from cheating. Okay, say if it is just a 5-mark test, okay, the student will not take a risk of cheating. Okay, so he will think after all 5 marks I will attend it. Okay, but if you are keeping for 50 marks, okay, definitely he will have the notion of cheating. Okay, so you plan for frequent low stake test. Okay, and as I told you, you keep milestones. Okay, and once the students are going to reach that milestone, you decide how you are going to grade. Okay, and the other thing is that with respect to the behavior. Okay, so when I say behavior, it is not the what I say, that individual behavior. Okay, I'm talking about the academic behavior, how well they are participatory. Okay, so you can see that when we are teaching in online, we do not know whether the students are listening or not. Okay, so we should ensure the participation. Okay, so the participation can be made as an assessment component. Okay, so how do you ensure the participation of a student? Okay, so that also can be made as an assessment criteria. Okay, so how you are going to grade the participation aspects of students. And then when you're talking about selective assessment, okay, so you try to assess them based upon the performance of the student in certain aspects, okay, which we will cover later. So all these things require proper planning. And coming to what is that, evaluation and grading. Okay, you, instead of giving individual assessments, okay, you can think of giving them group works. Okay, that will reduce the teacher's workload. Okay, so if I have 60 students, and if I'm going to give 60 if I give them an assessment and I'm going to evaluate each of the 60 individuals, Okay, of course I will understand the individual performance, but in an online mode, that is meaningless. Okay, because as I have told you, we really do not know how what is the authenticity of the students contribution. Okay, in that case, what we try to do is that our objective is that the student has to learn. Okay, so we try to make them into groups and ask them to prepare a what is that, an activity which will be assessed. Okay, that is the way I'm telling. Okay, so we try to give them group projects, and then the other assessment mechanism will be like, you can encourage them for discussion, as I told you, the participation. So student led discussions. Okay, you can give a topic and ask the students to discuss over it, and based upon the discussion, that can be taken as an assessment criteria and you can award marks. Okay, and representative submission, again it is like your group project. Okay, you give them an activity, and a group of one person will be representing a group of people and they will be submitting it. Okay, so these are the ways in which you can design assessment such that it can be given to groups, and you can evaluate the groups instead of individual students, so that there are two advantages in that. In teacher perspective, your workload is reduced. In student perspective, it is an enjoyment. Okay, and when you consider this online teaching learning process, it is really causing frustration for students also. Okay, just as how we say that teachers are frustrated over online teaching, students also have their frustrations. Okay, just you imagine somebody talking over the screen, how long a student can listen. Okay, because they are losing the fun and activity which are present in a physical classroom. You just imagine the age and the spirit of youngsters. Okay, so all these are killed by this online mode. So when you are trying to give them an group work, definitely it will increase the enthusiasm of the student. Okay, so that is one advantage. And coming for the grading, if you use tools, okay, you can go for automatic grading, or else you can give a quiz, or and you can download that and you can do an offline grading. Okay, and the other aspect of grading is called as self grading. Okay, when you talk about assessment, there is an assessment called as an initial assessment or a beginning level assessment, where the student himself will assess his own knowledge. Okay, what do I know about this particular subject? Okay, and what should be my contribution? In that way, you can give assessment. Okay, so that it can be self graded by the student themselves. Okay, and the other way of assessment is again your peer or crowdsource grading. This is a very interesting point what I want to emphasize. See, this is how we are trying to include students also into the assessment process. Okay, so I was talking about your education 4.0. Education 4.4, later I will tell. It is about collaborative learning. Okay, and this online platform has enabled collaborative learning. Okay, so when you talk about learning, even grading can be made as collaborative. You can have a peer grading. Okay, so this is an interesting point which I will tell what I am practicing also. Okay, so these are the ways in which grading can be made easy. Okay, you can go with the tools wherein your automatic grading of either quizzes or your even your descriptive type answers can be automatically graded. I will tell some tool. And the other thing is that self grading. Okay, wherein you can give some exercise for the student, and the student can grade how well it is done. Again, the tool does it, but it will be known to the student. Okay, and the third way of grading is your peer grading or crowdsourced grading. Okay, where the student themselves will grade their activities, and where the teacher also will be a part of that grading process. Okay, so coming to Bloom's taxonomy, these are the so I'm talking about the raw Bloom's taxonomy, wherein we have the knowledge level, comprehension level, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Okay, so coming to online, when you say these are the Bloom's taxonomy, what are the different online assessment methods you can consider to achieve this particular knowledge level? Okay, so you can see that at knowledge level you have multiple choice questions, true or false, matching, fill in the blank, short answer, flashcard, games and quizzes. Most of the online tools like Google Forms, they support this type of questions, okay, or assessment methodologies. And for comprehension you need to have simulation tools, animation tools and tutorials. And for application level, again you can make use of short answers, MCQs, essay, okay, and again tools are available for evaluating these things. And for the last one, analysis, synthesis and evaluation, which is the highest level of knowledge level, here you have to think of assessment methodologies like you give them a scenario, you give them an essay, a project, or a portfolio, a simulation, presentation and virtual lab. Okay, so these are the different assessment methodologies, and for each of these you have tools. Okay, so that is the second part. And for the third part I will give you some of the tools, and later I will demonstrate one or two tools. Okay, so coming to the assessment tools, a simple tool what we are familiar with is your Google Forms. Okay, I am damn sure that every teacher knows how to use a Google Forms. Okay, and similar to Google Forms, okay, there is one platform called as Flexi Quiz, and this Flexi Quiz is a very interesting platform. Okay, which I have been using to create my quizzes apart from Google Forms for certain other reasons. Okay, so this is a platform which is free. Okay, but for a limited number of students, but anyway I will tell you how you can manage this for a large number of students also. And there are some interesting tools like hot potatoes, quandary, marking. Okay, so these are actually web based tools only, but as of now most of the LMS are not supporting the integration of these exercises except Moodle, Blackboard, etc. But still if you are able to write CGI and incorporate into your LMS, you can achieve this. Okay, these are some of the tools what I want to talk about also. And probably Kupusami sir would have told about insert learning, Edpuzzle, H5P, Kahoot, okay, Class Kick, Triventi and TAO. Okay, so these are some interesting tools what you can explore and see, and most of these tools are free, and these tools are again can be integrated into your Google Classroom. Okay, so I have chosen tools which can be integrated into your Google Classroom. Okay, so now you know what is a Google form. A Google form is a simple way of normally we use Google form to collect information like the registration form you are using, okay, or to conduct a survey, and even you can use it for a quick assessment also. Okay, so advantage is that it can be easily shareable, you can collect your response, you can automate the grading process. Okay, you can save the result in your spreadsheet. Okay, and whatnot. Okay, so it is a very simple tool for developing your quiz type questions. Okay, your multiple choice, short answers, true or false, etc. Okay, so this is, you should be quite familiar with this. And the next platform is called as a Flexi Quiz. This is like your Google Forms only. Only thing is that there are certain other features which are interesting, which are not present in your Google Form. Okay, so this Flexi Quiz I will just show it online. Yeah. Yes, my screen is visible.
Yes, madam.
Hello.
Yes, madam.
Yes,
Yes, madam. Visible.
visible, ma'am.
Visible, madam.
Hello.
Hello,
Ma'am, it's visible, ma'am.
it's not visible. Yeah.
Now it's not visible, ma'am.
Am I heard?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
you're heard.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I think you're not able to hear us.
No, was it visible till now?
Yes, ma'am. The screen is visible and your voice is also audible.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Yes, is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
One
Yes,
madam.
minute.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Visible, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, no, it shows like you are no longer present.
It's not visible, ma'am. Now it's not visible.
Okay. Yes, can you see this screen?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes, madam.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is the Flexi Quiz page. Yeah. Yes, this is the platform what I was talking about. This is called as the flexiquiz.com. Okay, so you can see that it is free for use. But only thing is that it allows a limited number of students. Okay, so I have already logged in into my account. Okay, so it is a simple login process. You can try it out. Mm. So this is my dashboard. You can see that I have been using this for a longer time, and I have created many exercises using this. Okay, I will just tell how to create a quiz in this. Okay, uh, so you just give a quiz name like. Okay, so you can see that this is the interface for quiz creation. So you can, there are two things here. So you can see that there is a tab called as create, and then there is a tab called as configure. Once I have created my quiz, I can configure for various settings. Okay, and then after configuration, I can publish a quiz. Okay, which means that it will be made available for the web. Okay, and then once the result, once the students have attended, I can analyze the quiz. Okay, and you can print the quizzes. So you can see at the right end you have the print option wherein you can print your quiz. Okay, and you have a quiz preview also. Okay, and when you consider this status, so the quiz name is sample is given here, and at this end you can see that the status is in design. Okay, you can see below preview the status shows as in design, which means that I have started to design a quiz. So next, after designing a quiz, I will have the quiz to be published and it is open, and then I can close it after the quiz is over. Okay, so status will be like in design, open, and quiz. Okay, so now coming downwards, you can see that there is an add item, which means that I have to add a question. Okay, and there is a thing called as add page. Now what is this page is that, as I told you, one of the strategies for avoiding students copying is that you have limited set of questions. Okay, so you can have design multiple pages, and within every page you can have limited set of questions. Okay, so that your student cannot get the answer for it. And within pages also you can randomize the questions. Okay, say for example, in first page one student would get two questions which will not be the same for another student. Okay, so that is possible with Flexi Quiz. Okay, and that is why I prefer going with Flexi Quiz rather than Google Forms. Okay, so add item, again you have different types of things. So here you can see that I can add a question. Okay, and we were talking about interactive and visually rich content. Okay, so I can add a video question here. Okay, or an audio question or an image based question. Okay, so everything is possible here. So I can add a question, I can add a text or a media. Okay, I can import questions, which means that I will create a question bank. Okay, so when I create a question bank, I can import the questions. Okay, from the question bank. Okay, but unfortunately these are not for the free users. Okay, for free users only thing is that I can add a question. Okay, so if you are paying it, maybe all these features can be used. So it goes up to the certification level also. So when you consider the question types, you can see that the question type like Google Forms, you have single choice. Okay, in radio button type, drop down type, multiple choice. Okay, picture choice, fill in the blanks, matching, and matching text. Okay, so matching text is like what to say that um, uh, normal match the following. Okay, and this might be like your image based and that, but these things are not available for free users. Okay, so mostly we confine with these first three things only. Okay, and coming to the questions, you can see that you can have different options. You can give a link here. Okay, you can add an image, video, table. Okay, an YouTube video, everything can be embedded. Okay, and there are options like yes, you can add mathematical questions. Okay, so all these things are available. Okay, and here you have the way you can give the scores. Okay, that is your point. And you can see that some questions can be made as mandate. Okay, and for each of the question you can give a question feedback also. Okay, and you can see that the questions option can be randomized. One thing is that the question can itself be randomized, and the other thing is that the question options can be randomized. Okay, and you can set the option points also. Okay, so this is how you add new questions. Okay, so I think most of you will be familiar with these processes. I'm not going to tell. And whenever you are adding a page, okay, so you can set new questions for that page. Yeah, so when you talk about pages, there are different types of pages. Like you can have a welcome page wherein you're going to give your instruction for your quiz, and there is a thank you page which is going to end your quiz, and there are several quiz pages in between. Each quiz page can have a set of questions. Okay, so this is to avoid students to um, cheat. Okay, so different students will get different questions. Okay, and the number of questions might differ, and the questions itself might differ, the options also might differ. Okay, so we will see how this can be done. Here we had only randomizing the choices. Okay, now after designing your questions, you have to configure the quiz. So configuration, you can see that there are general configurations which are laid. So you can see the left tab. Okay, so general configuration, grading configuration, results, certificate, notification, themes. Okay, so but these things again, as I have told you, right from your results, certificate, notification, all these are not for the free users. Okay, but if you are going to pay for it, it is worth also. Okay, so now I will go with the general configuration. We have given the quiz name, and you can see that the quiz name will be published. Okay, in your quiz, the progress bar will be published. Okay, say for example how many pages are there. Okay, and how many pages you have completed, and each page title. Okay, and the Flexi Quiz link will be there. Okay, and you can allow and say, see, when the student is taking up the quiz, okay, so you can suppose if you're using this quiz as a not a serious assessment, you can allow the student to save the quiz and continue it at a later stage. Say for example, it is used for self assessment, okay, so in that case you can allow the student to save and continue. Okay, and you can also email the quiz link. Okay, and you can set the time limit for completing the whole quiz. Okay, so this is normally available in most of the platforms. Okay, but see here, this is an interesting feature where each of the page will have the limit. Okay, this is what I was talking earlier when I told that it should be a timed and limited quiz. Okay, so each page you can set some time limit. Okay, so if they fail to answer that page, it's gone. Okay, so that will avoid the students from getting help. Okay, so you can set the time limits for individual page. Okay, and you can randomize the question either for the whole quiz. Okay, 1 minute, it is very slow. So you can randomize the questions for the whole quiz or for each of the pages. Okay, I don't know, this server is very slow today. Okay, and then you can see that you can auto number the questions. Okay, you can bookmark the questions, okay, during the test, and for each of the page you can decide how many questions you can give. Okay, so say for example you're going to get the questions from the question bank. Okay, and you can automatically state that I need this many pages and this many questions per page. Okay, and you can minimize the number of attempts. Okay, like 1. Suppose if you are using this assessment to for self learning, okay, in that case you can set some minimum marks. Okay, if the student failed to get the minimum mark, you can allow him to retake the quiz. Okay, so those things also can be made. So you can see that the options are here, and then there is an interesting feature called as your browser attempt tracker. Okay, say for example I'm using one device and I've opened Flexi Quiz in one tab, and if I'm trying to open other tabs in order to find help, okay, in that case it will be notified. Okay, but again these are not for the free users, but still these features are available. Okay, and the next feature is like once your quiz is over, okay, say for example you can plan a multi-level quiz. Okay, like if one quiz is over, you can ask them to go to another quiz, or based on the quiz you can ask them to direct to another link, some other material. Okay, so those things are also possible. You can redirect on quiz completion. Okay, so after completing the quiz you can redirect the students to some other link. It can be either a new quiz or some other material. Okay, and you can schedule the quiz. Okay, what is the date and what is the time? Okay, and when it will be opened. Okay, so that can be done, and you can schedule configure the layout of your questions, either vertical or horizontal. Okay, and other format things. Okay, and this is another important feature. See, allow edit commands. Allow edit commands like, say for example I have a quiz. Okay, and that is why I tell the teacher's role is very important. Even if you are going to give a question, you have to reword the question such that if he copy paste that question, he will not get the answer. You have to reword the question, and you have to write the question so that it will not be a direct question, but still it gives a direct answer. Okay, so in that case, using this Flexi Quiz, you can avoid the students from copying the text and pasting it. Okay, so if you enable all these options, okay, like cut, copy, paste, the student will be able to cut, copy, paste the question and get the answers. Okay, but if you are keeping a limited type test, and if you are allowing a student, if you are not allowing a student to cut, copy, paste, in that case, he will not have the time to type the question and find the answer. Okay, so what if you disable all these boxes? You will not be able, you will not allow the students to cut, copy, paste, or right mouse click or print your questions. Okay, and similarly, if you disable this button, which is your previous page navigation, again he will be able to attempt only one page only. Okay, only once. Okay, so it means that he can move forward only, he cannot move backward only. Okay, so these are important aspects of Flexi Quiz, which are not present in Google Forms and other things. Okay, so these things will help a teacher to be satisfied that students are not copying. Okay, so once I have created my quiz and I have configured my settings, I have to publish quiz. Please wait, it is loading. Okay, so publish this is nothing but when you publish it, you will get a link. Okay, you share that link with the students, or you can create a roster of students for whom this particular quiz will be assigned. Okay, and once you have published this, it will be activated based upon the schedule what you have given. Okay, and using that quiz link, the student can take the quiz. And after he answers, okay, you will be able to analyze the result. I will just go to the questions what I have already done, and I will show you. Okay, it is responding very slowly. So this is about Flexi Quiz. I don't know what is the problem with that. Okay. It shows that someone else is presenting. Okay, fine. I will continue with my presentation. Hello, it shows like someone else is presenting. Is my screen visible?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And another interesting tool what I want to tell is about insert learning. Insert learning is another web-based application which helps to bring about interaction among your lessons. Okay, say normally this particular thing can be used as an assessment, and also it will be used to assess the behavior of a student or the participation of a student in a lesson. Okay, so it is actually like I will teach through a web page, and within that web page I will be able to bring about interactive content. Okay, and within that web page I will be able to insert instructional content.
Ma'am, can you
Yes,
hear me? Your
yes,
screen is not visible, ma'am.
1 minute. One minute. Please allow me to leave the meet. I will join.
Please continue, madam. Hello, madam.
Participants, please wait. There is some technical issue at ma'am's end.
Okay. So now we'll talk about web services. So web services is a software system that supports computer to computer interaction over the internet. இதுதான் வெப் சர்வீஸ். ஒரு சிஸ்டம் டு சிஸ்டம் ரெண்டு பேருமே இன்ட்ராக்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறதுக்காக நாம யூஸ் பண்ற ஒரு சாஃப்ட்வேர் தான் வெப் சர்வீசஸ். சரியா? நார்மலா இது என்ன பண்ணுவோம்? இஸ் ரெப்ரசன்டட் யூசிங் API. ஓகேயா? So now on a Flickr, for example, the photography sharing website Flickr provides a web service that could be utilized by the developer to programmatically interface with the Flickr in order to search for images. Currently, thousands of web services are available for users, and they can form an important component in the context of web.
Excuse me, sir. Are you presenting anything, Prasad sir?
I'm extremely sorry for the trouble. There is a glitch in the internet connection. I will start presenting. Yes. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yes, yes. Insert Learning is another web-based platform in which you try to teach the students, and as well as you can use this particular platform as a assessment tool also, which will be helping you to assess both the knowledge as well as the participation of the student. Okay, so I will just demonstrate how this can be used.
Yes, madam. Please continue, madam.
Yes, sir. So actually, insert learning, you can see that in my browser, it has been added as a Chrome extension. So you can add this insert learning as a Chrome extension, and I will show how you can use this. So I will just take one um, web page. So this is actually a browser extension which can be used along with the browser only. Yes. So I'm just taking a web page and yes. So now you can see that this web page has some content, and earlier I have added this insert learning as a Chrome extension. So now what I'm going to do is that I will click insert learning. So you can see that students, normally this is a web accessibility standard, using the standard which is 3 consortium. Okay, so I need not prepare the material, so I'm just directly teaching the resources which are available. Now I want to create an interaction with the students. So this type of tool makes me of interaction. In insert learning, you can see that left hand side I have
Ma'am,
different things.
excuse me, ma'am, your screen has not changed. Yeah, yeah,
It is
it's
taking time to load.
we can't see any change in the screen, ma'am. It's just the same screen and we can only hear your voice.
Yes. Yeah. That loading, I can. You cannot hear my voice.
We can
Clear,
hear,
madam.
ma'am. Participants, please wait. Ma'am will join you shortly because she's having some technical issues.
Madam, is the screen visible now?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay, I've opened Insert Learning and it is loading. So it is just asking the login of Insert Learning. Okay. So you can see that in the left hand side there is a small frame which is present. So you can see that there is a pen type icon which says that you can highlight the text. Okay, so this tool will help you for teaching. Okay, so this will help you to highlight the text which you are want to tell. Okay, and then you can paste some sticky notes also. Okay, maybe the net is slow, so it is not working much fine. So you can see that this is a sticky note. Okay, so these two tools can be used for teaching, and here you have an important icon. You can see that this cloud is normally meant for discussion. So I will just where yeah, you can see that it says like create a discussion. Okay, student led discussion is assessment technique which has been carried out by list. What a student led discussion is that topic and the discussion will be carried out by the students. Okay, so based upon the points that they place. Okay, so this is like a debate sort of thing what we have in classroom teaching. So we can see how far the student has understood a concept and how well he is going to defend the. Okay, so particular aspect which can be used for participation of a. Okay, so in that way this in the tool can be used for teach as well as. So here what you can do is that I can just give I can create a discussion.
Participants, please wait. Ma'am will join shortly.
Okay. Yeah, I've been taking for. Oh, I'm sorry. How long it was there? Ayyo. Okay. I'm sorry. No, I've been talking for a long time. I thought I'm there. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been. Oh, okay. 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 Oh, okay. 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 Yes. 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 I'm sorry. Okay. 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 Mm. Yes. Yes. No. I'm really sorry for whatever is happening. I don't know. It is out of control. I have two net connections, and somehow it is happening. Uh, I'm really sorry. So I've been talking for a long time. I don't know when did I leave. Okay. Yes, is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible. You're audible also, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Ma'am, we can't hear you actually.
Yes,
Not
I'm
sure.
hearing.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay.
Is it there?
Yeah, we can hear you, and the
Yeah,
screen is visible also,
I
ma'am.
don't know what is. Is it okay? Now, can you see?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Perfectly okay.
Okay. Okay, fine. So actually, I was talking about insert learning. So insert learning is one web-based platform. So you can see that it is a Chrome extension. I've added here. And now this insert learning can be used for an interactive teaching learning process. So you have this options here, like you can highlight a text, then you can insert a sticky note. Okay, so this is a sticky note. So based upon the text, whatever you are teaching, you can type a text, okay, or you can embed images, video, etc. So that will enhance the learning process. And apart from that, how do you use this insert learning for assessment is that I can insert a question here, as well as I can insert a discussion. Now, these two, inserting a question and discussion, will help you to assess the participation of the student. Okay, so he can do it at offline, or either he can do it at runtime. Okay, so you are teaching them, okay, online. You can insert, say for example, I have inserted discussion here. Okay, so maybe I will do it again. I was earlier doing it. Say, for example, I want to know what students are thinking about a particular content. Okay, as well as I want to involve the student in a discussion also, through which they can be evaluated. See, now, say for example, for this particular content, I want a discussion, student-led discussion. Okay, so I can give a discussion topic, say, features. Feature you think essential. Okay, so I'm creating a discussion and I will create it. Okay, so see that if you are logged in through your Google account, you will have your Google Classrooms. Okay, that classroom. So you can choose whichever class you assign to this particular. Now you can see that I can the student how it will look for a student. Okay, so a student will have a discussion like this. Say maybe will be. Hello, madam, I'm there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is insert learning. So wherein you can insert your questions and as well as your student-led discussions. And next tool, what I want to talk about is your crowd grader. So this crowd grader is an interesting tool which can be used for
Ma'am, the screen is not visible. We can only hear your voice, ma'am.
yes, ma'am. Now,
Uh, no, ma'am. We are not. We are not able to see your screen. We can see your screen, ma'am, but it's very static.
Is my screen now visible?
Yes, ma'am. But I can't see the browser screen.
Browser
No,
தான் இப்போ
madam.
ஓபன் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். It's not
அது
visible.
no, ma'am. It's
Ah,
not
no,
visible.
madam.
அது தெரியல.
I have presented my entire screen only. Okay, ma'am. I'll share my slides. Okay, okay, okay. Fine. Okay. I will just list the tools. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I will just go with the tools alone due to the shortage of time. So, insert learning is a great tool wherein you can bring in interaction among the web pages. Okay, you can include your assessment component also into the web pages. So, thereby it will be a tool which is used for teaching, learning as well as assessment also. Okay, so you can see that these are the options, like you have an assign, highlight, sticky notes. So these can be used for teaching, and questions and discussions can be used for assessing the students. And Edpuzzle is another tool. Okay, so this is again a free tool in which you can create interactive video lessons. So you can have a video which is generated, and this again will be helping you to identify the participation of the uh, users or the learners. So you can just use this as an offline assessment tool also, wherein the students also can use it for self-evaluating their to create interactive video lessons. And again, this Edpuzzle can be integrated with your Google Classroom. So you can just create an interactive lesson and assign to one of your class in the Google Classroom, and collect the scores from through your classroom. So this again can be used as your assessment component. And H5P is again similar to your Edpuzzle. H5P is another free tool which is more efficient to create your interactive content. So you can create quizzes. The quizzes will be visually rich. You can add drag and drop activities. So whatever I was telling, you can create interactive PPTs. You can, as well as you can also. So as I told you, yes, yes, the screen visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This this is again a great tool for creating interactive content, wherein you can create interactive PPTs, interactive videos, as well as exercises with scenarios or case studies. So this is one great platform which can be used for assessment. And Kahoot is another game-based learning platform. It is a very interesting, colorful platform in which you can create quizzes and you can create game sort of quizzes, wherein you have the scores, you have the players, you can rate the players, okay, you can rank the players, and you can give scores. Okay, this is another interesting platform. And Hot Potatoes is one platform wherein you can create different types of exercises, and these exercises can be provided through your LMS as exercises for self-assessment, and the exercises can also be integrated into a LMS, but it is supported only by few LMS like and Blackboard. With that, we have to write a interface. Okay, so that the exercise score are carried on to the classroom. So this is one interesting tool. So it is a desktop tool only. You download it in your desktop and you create HTML exercises and you can embed them in your LMS platform. Here you can see different types of exercises like multiple choice question, short answers, what is that, fill in the blanks, jumbled words, etc. Different types of exercises all can be created as HTML. So there are 5 applications like quiz application, matching application, and jumbled word application, and a JMasher. And another interesting tool which is from the same product is your Quandary. So this is used to create exercises, be action mazes. You know what is a maze? Okay, so this particular tool will help scenarios, and the student provided with multiple, and he choose any one of the choices, and based on that you can assess the management skill or any other skill which are required. Normally this is used to test the skills of the Yes, Quandary is another exercise which is used to create problems based on action mazes. So it is normally used for scenario-based learning and assessment. So here, this particular tool can be used for testing the critical thinking and problem-solving skills of learners. Okay, it can also be used as an assessment tool. Say you can give different levels of exercises for different levels of students. Okay, so it can be used as a quiz. Okay, and based upon the quiz results, it can be used to determine various courses of action. So actually it consists of large number of decision points, and each decision point will present a situation. Okay, and the user will be reading the information at the decision point and he will be choosing one course of action. Okay, So here you can see some small example like how you can use this particular tool for a training purpose. Okay, so you can see that the game starts here, and the first decision point is that find a menu item or a button which looks related to what you want. Okay, so there are two actions for this. I can find one, I cannot find one. Okay, so if you cannot find one, then you have to pick one at a random. Okay, so if you have picked one, there is a course of action. If you have not picked, there is another course of action. So likewise, you can define a game using this particular tool. Okay, and another interesting tool is your marking. So this marking is an effective tool. So normally we use the assessment for as multiple choice questions only, or as quiz based questions only. But if I have a descriptive answer, how do I automate the grading process? Okay, this is the question which is raised by multiple teachers. Okay, so for a descriptive answer which is very systematic, like what to say, like a mathematical problem or a programming exercise or a scientific answer. Okay, so if you have a systematic way of evaluating that particular answer, you can use this tool. So in this tool, actually, we will create buttons, okay, for each and every component of your answer. Okay, and you just place those comments, and automatically the marks will be scored. And you also have buttons for negative scoring also. And if something is not present, or if something is not right, you have buttons for that also. So you can just place those comments and automatically the answers will be evaluated. So this is one efficient tool for evaluating descriptive answers. Here you have what to say, annotations, comments, feedbacks, and grades. Okay, so through which you can evaluate one descriptive answer. Okay, and this is the interface. You can see that in the right hand side there are red color buttons and green color buttons. Red